When you're picking an EV, but you also have to think about moving your family around, you think about three things: range, comfort, and space. Well, to look at all of those things, I've picked out 4 of some of our favorite family-focused EVs here at Big Motoring World. The 4 cars that we've picked all have something in common. You'll notice that they are all SUVs, and they're all from brands that you know and you can trust. Now we're going to jump into all of these and discuss what we like about them and what makes them perfect to move your family and your family stuff around. This is the BMW iX3, BMW's all-electric mid-size SUV. Now the first thing to note is this looks very similar to the X3. The difference being that the X3 has got an engine under this bonnet, whereas this is all electric. Now you will find that a lot of family-friendly EVs share an awful lot with their cousins across the board. Take, for example, the ID.4 or the Mercedes EQB. They share a platform with their internal combustion engine friends. But let's explore the exterior of the iX3. First thing to note, of course, it's got a little blue ring around the BMW badge to denote that it's part of their electric range. The grills on this BMW don't do anything. They're not sucking in any air to cool an engine because there isn't one. So they're just there looking nice and fancy. LED headlights, good for up to 200 meters worth of lighting in front of you when you're driving in the dark. And because this particular model is an M Sport trim, you've got fancy alloys, which are very nice, and a little M badge. And it does actually look quite sporty. Wing mirrors house cameras because this is a modern car. It has cameras to help you park the thing. Even though it is a mid-size SUV, it's still pretty big. It's got obviously 4 doors to jump in and out, whether it's family, friends, or maybe even you've got a dog or something in the back. And then of course, because you're going to be using this to move yourself around, let's look at the back and the boot. The rear of the iX3 continues to be rather handsome. First thing to note, well, it's got a pretty flat back on the end here, which means that when you're packing things in the boot, you can use pretty much every square centimetre. Before we dive into the boot, we've got a little reversing camera here because this does help you park. And of course, there's no exhaust pipes because there's no engine. Fully electric tailgate. Makes it nice and easy to open up if you've got something in your hand or you can't be bothered to open it using your own muscles. And then inside of here, you've got 510 litres worth of boot space. So you've got plenty of room for things that you might want to drive around with. So for example, you've got your charging cable in here if you do want to charge it with a 3-pin plug. Now, talking of charging, let me just very quickly talk about range. BMW claim that this will give you 292 miles underfoot. The reality is you'll probably get slightly less than that from the 100% charge. But if you want to find out more about how to make the most of your mileage in your EV, we've done a very handy video on that. So have a little search around for that. The loading lip is incredibly low, making getting things in and out super easy. So for example, if you have a pram like this one that I'm trying not to destroy, you can get that in and out easily. And of course, because of the size of the boot, you've got plenty of room for this and other things, whether it's things for the kids or whether you're taking a trip to the dump. And I'll tell you what isn't a dump, the interior of this iX3. So let's explore the inside. Welcome inside the iX3, and I'm happy to report that it is as luxurious as you want it to be. So let me take you on a bit of a tour. In front of you, you have a 12-ish inch digital instrument cluster, which is adaptive. So you can have maps on there, or you can have your music, what's playing on your music on there as well. That is all hidden behind this wonderfully chunky steering wheel. BMW are the self-acclaimed ultimate driving machine, and therefore it is really driver focused. This is an M Sport trim, so it's kind of sporty throughout, but really good position for your hands. And we have physical buttons to control things like answering your phone, the voice control, lane assist, cruise control, and in this, a heated steering wheel as well, which you will appreciate in the winter. You've got your infotainment system, classic iDrive from BMW, which is a good thing. And this is equipped with the finger wagging volume up and down. I mean, it's a thing that they have. I don't really rate it, but I guess it's nice. And then more physical buttons for your climate control and your presets for your radio, as well as volume up and down if you don't want to use your finger. You've got this lovely little kind of glossy area in the middle, iX3 in plastic on the top, just to remind you what you're driving, and a wireless charging pad for your mobile phone. Talking of mobiles, this comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can use that if you don't want to use the BMW system. Central console, iDrive control, and this little tiny gear selector for going backwards, forwards, and being in neutral, along with a nice blue start-stop, something that BMW give all of their electric range. USB-C plug in the front and USB-C plug in the middle for this rather nice big area to put things. Overall, it's a very comfortable, secure place. It does have the sportier seats, which are all electric and fully adjustable. And this has got the Harman Kardon sound system. So as you're driving along in what is normally quite quiet because it's an EV, well, you can actually blast your tunes out as well. And then this has got a pano roof in here as well. So it floods the cabin full of light for both the people at the front and the people at the back. Now, talking of the back, if you've clicked on this video, it's because it's a title about a family car, so let's explore what the rear looks like. The rear of the iX3 is, well, it's just as comfortable as the front, to be honest. Now, this driver's seat is in my driving position. I've got plenty of room for my knees. I'm 5'8", and there's obviously loads of room for my head as well, and the seats themselves feel very, very padded and supportive. In the middle, you can control your own climate in the back here, and there are 2 USB-C charging ports. Something to note, because this is based on the X3 and shares a platform, there is a slightly raised transmission tunnel in the middle, even though electric cars don't have transmissions, which is a bit of a shame, but doesn't really impact you too much. And there are ISOFIX points across the entire rear of the bench, which means when you put your child seat in, well, they can sit nice and securely. Overall, it's a very nice, light, airy place to be, thankfully, because of the panoramic roof. I imagine that has a lot to do with it, but I will quite happily sit in the back here for many, many miles. This is the Tesla Model Y. It's been on our roads for a number of years now, but it still could be the ultimate family electric vehicle. Now, Tesla are born to be electric, which means everything about this is geared towards driving you and your family around in maximum comfort and maximum mileage. So let's have a little explore around this slightly taller Tesla. So it is bristling with technology, something we'll explore when we go inside, but outside it is the sleek design that we all know and some of us love. Cameras dotted around everywhere to make sure when you're parking this thing or generally maneuvering, you can see what is happening all around you. If you want to know more about parking a Tesla or parking aids in general, we have done a full video on the kind of things that are available to help you park your car. But if you are choosing this as your next family ride, you're probably interested in how big the boot is. The boot space in the back of the Model Y is absolutely cavernous. So underneath the electric tailgate is 855 litres worth of space. Plenty of room for things and stuff like your prams or whatever. And then under here, you've got even more room. Tons and tons of space. Now, if 855 litres of boot space in the back isn't enough, then you've got 117 litres more space underneath the bonnet in the front. There's about enough room in there for an overhead size suitcase plus then some. So between the two, you've got over 900 litres worth of space, which means this Tesla Model Y has undoubtedly got the most capacity of luggage and loading space throughout every single EV at Big Motoring World. Now, with this being an EV, a very valid question would be, how do I charge it? And how long will it take? Well, you can charge it AC or DC, so basically the box from your house or one of the super rapid chargers out and about. And this is a dual motor version of the Model Y, so it will get you up to 330 miles. If you want to charge it up to 80%, if you find yourself a 150 kilowatt charger in the wild, it will take you around about 30 to 35 minutes to charge this thing to 80%. And once you jump back in, if you do forget to close this, don't worry, it can all be done from inside. If you want to know more about how to charge your EV when you're out in public, we've done a very handy video on that, talking about all the options that you have out there in the wild. Inside the Tesla Model Y, it's minimalist but functional. So let's go on a little tour. First of all, there's nothing in front of you really except your steering wheel and your gear selector. So nice little roller wheels that control quite a lot once you start to play with this central infotainment system. Now this controls pretty much all of your Tesla Model Y, and you will see these in all Teslas. In fact, the Model Y shares 75% of its components with the Model 3, one of the single most popular cars on the road today. The infotainment will offer you everything you would imagine. You manage your climate control, steering wheel up and down, and your modes. But because we are talking about this being a family-friendly option, there are a few things just I want to point out to you. The arcade button is pretty good. Now you can play with your games while you're charging or stationary, just to keep everybody entertained. Beach Buggy Racing 2 is a personal favorite of mine. But then let's say you need to pop into the shops, but you want to leave your dog or pet in the car, but you don't want them to die, which is pretty much the first rule of pet ownership. Well, in the climate control options, there is a literal button that says dog, and it will keep the cabin nice and cool while you mosey over to Morrison's. All very well and good. Now it is all very well organized, ergonomically designed, and you can play around with your options to your heart's content. There are of course physical elements to the central console. So you've got two wireless charging pads at the front, one for you and one for your passenger, a massive bin in the middle here, plenty of room for things and stuff. I've got a 750 milliliter water bottle in there at the moment, and it fits super comfortably. Two cup holders, and then another gigantic central area for things. So it really is designed to help you move yourself and your passengers around. Now it does come with the pano roof, which means that the cabin is flooded full of light and it feels nice and airy. You don't feel claustrophobic in here at all. And the seats that I'm sitting in, whilst they are fairly basic, they're actually pretty sporty, very comfortable, and pretty electric as well, which is well and good. The story in the back of a Model Y is a good one. So first of all, I'm sat behind myself. This seat is in my driving position and there's plenty of room for my knees, and the headroom is good. I'm 5'8", which is all good. And obviously the back is flooded full of UV protected light, thanks to this pano roof. Now this was designed to be an EV from the ground up, which means there's no central transmission tunnel to get in the way of your feet if you are sat in the middle. This is very, very good news. And there are ISOFIX points throughout the back bench, which means when you put a child seat in here, there's plenty of room for that, and they are nice and secure. Overall, the back here is a very comfortable place to be. And one little thing that I quite like, the little hooks to put your jacket or your shopping in are just tucked in there at the press of your finger. Overall, a wonderful place to be as a passenger. Looking to buy your next car? At Big Motoring World, we have thousands, yes, thousands of cars across our forecourts, because we're big on choice and we're big on what matters to you. Now, if you're looking to sell your car, we will give you a 7-day guaranteed valuation if you sell the car to bigwantsyourcar.com. This means when you send us a picture of your car, we don't chip you down on price like some others. And with no admin fees and instant bank transfers, you get the money straight away. Cha-ching! And did I mention that we also pick up your car free of charge? This is the Mercedes EQB, and it is a wonderful all-electric family option. The all-electric EQ division, which is a subdivision that sits within Mercedes, much like AMG, have delivered this mid-size crossover. Sits between the EQA and the EQC, but it's not as low as an EQA and not as tall as, say, an EQC. That makes it perfect for zipping around town or munching motorway miles. Now, talking of miles, this is of course an EV, and it will get you just shy of 290 miles on one charge, according to Mercedes. We'll come back to that. I want to talk about what it looks like. Now, when you think Mercedes, I don't know about you, but I think of luxury and premium quality. And just looking at this from the outside, I think it actually delivers that. It's got the wonderful LED headlights with a wonderful blue strip denoting that it's electric. I don't know why car manufacturers have chosen blue to mean electric, but BMW have done it as well, but it looks nice. It's a sleek design. It's not too in your face, but I think it does actually stand out from the crowd, and it's not so big and overpowering that you feel like you're kind of bossing everybody on the road. Now, this is a family car, so obviously what's important is space and utility. Now, before we look to the boot, where there is a little surprise, let's just talk about these. You've got functioning roof rails on this EQB, so you can put a roof rack or a roof box, just making this car so much more useful as you're driving around or going on a trip with friends or family. But I just want to have a look in the boot and then talk about the little surprise. The all-important thing when you're thinking about family cars is boot space. Now, this is somewhat boxy and aesthetic, which gives you all the room in the back. Power tailgate open via the three-pointed star like such, revealing 495 litres of boot space, which is plenty when moving everybody around. But the secret to this car comes in sevens. Pull this little red handle here, and revealed are 2 extra seats in the back, making this EQB a 7-seater, something quite rare in the world of cars nowadays. You've got, for example, the Kia EV9, which has got 7 seats, but is considerably larger and more expensive than the EQB. Now, these 2 seats are really designed for small adults or children, but they do come with 2 USB-C chargers at the rear to keep everything charged as you move along. With these up, the boot space is reduced to 130 litres, so you do lose quite a lot of room, but fundamentally, this is a fantastic option to have when travelling around with your family. EVs need charging, and this 78 kilowatt hour battery EQB is no different. How do you charge it? Well, you've got your AC and your DC charger. Get a rapid charger that will charge up to 150 kilowatts per hour, and you can charge this from 10 to 80% in about 34 minutes, giving you 298 miles according to Mercedes, which is absolutely plenty. The infotainment system is standard Mercedes, and I say that in the nicest possible way. The one area I do want to draw attention to in the infotainment system is the EQ area. So this talks you through just how good you're being as a driver and just how efficient your EV is being. It's a really useful area to just keep up to date with how well you are doing and how much mileage you are or are not munching through as a result of how you drive. Overall, the central console is a good place to be, and it's not all touchscreen. You've got real buttons for your climate control, which I absolutely love. You've got a touchpad to roam around your infotainment. This rather odd thing in the middle that would have been selecting gears potentially, but just seems to be there, but I suppose you can grab it to make yourself feel better. And then even more room in the middle with a USB-C charger in here as well. If I did have one criticism, I wish this particular EQB came with a panoramic roof, just so it let a bit more light into the cabin, but I'm nitpicking, to be honest. It's still a wonderful place to be. The rear of the EQB is plenty big enough. The seats actually feel very comfortable and quite supportive, and there's plenty of room actually for my head. I'm 5'8". If you're a bit taller than that, you might find yourself hunched just a little bit, but there is enough room for human people. Central transmission tunnel doesn't really exist in this car, I'm glad to say, so your feet aren't exactly jammed up against anything. There is not a lot going on in front of you, but there is a little option at the bottom that you can open up, and you've got 2 USB-C chargers in the back, and also what looks like an ashtray, but I'm sure it isn't. You've got little air vents in the back as well, and ISOFIX points across the entire rear of the bench, like in most, if not all, of cars nowadays, which means your car seat for a little person fits in here quite nicely. The ambient lighting follows all the way through, which is a nice little touch, I think it adds an air of luxury to the back, but overall, it's actually not a bad place to be for a given amount of time. This is the ID.4 and it is Volkswagen's family-friendly EV. Volkswagen was designed to bring transport to the masses, and now they're bringing EVs to the people. This is a similar size to the Tiguan. In fact, it's based on a very similar platform, but that is where the two diverge. Now, looking at it from the outside, you can see that it is designed for aerodynamic efficiency. It is super slippery, meaning that you can maximize your mileage out of the 55 kilowatt hour battery underneath, giving you 220 miles, according to Volkswagen. This is a pure edition ID.4, but you can get a Pro with slightly more range and a little bit more power. This will give you 148 brake horsepower, which frankly is plenty because all the power goes to the wheels just when you need it in an EV. But with it being an EV, you're probably asking, how do you charge it? The ID.4 is charged via an AC-DC port, DC being the rapid charging option. And if you want to charge between 10 and 80% using a 110 kilowatt an hour rapid charger, it will take you around about 30 to 35 minutes to charge this 55 kilowatt hour battery in the VW. But what it lacks in battery size, it more than makes up for with boot space. The boot in the ID.4 really is its pièce de résistance. 542 litres of space in the back. We've got a pram in here just to show how much room there really is. And to be honest, it's absolutely dwarfed. There's room for so much more back here. There is a little ski hatch if you need to move things that are slightly longer, like skis. So there's plenty of useful space. There is a little bit of a lip in here just to be mindful of. But other than that, there's lots of little hooks and harnesses to make sure that your shopping doesn't go flying around in that 542 litre space worth of boot. Worth saying again. Inside of the ID.4, it is a very, very comfortable place to be. I'll start with the seats. Yeah, they're super, super comfortable. I would quite happily sit in here all day long. But let's look at what's in front of me. So steering wheel, pretty vital to get around with. You've got a mix of haptic controls on your steering wheel and semi-haptic buttons. I'll be honest, they take a bit of getting used to, but once you do, you'll be fine. You've got a pretty small digital display in front of you, but again, you'll get used to it. But it shows everything that you need, how much range you've got left, how fast you're going, and what gear you're in. And your gear selector is just kind of up here on the right-hand side. You will get used to that, I promise. Your light controls are all haptic buttons down by your right-hand knee. And then your infotainment system, well, it's standard Volkswagen. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's all very ergonomically thought out. Everything is where it should be, but you do just need to make sure that you're getting used to where everything is by clicking the buttons. Again, they're haptic. They're not real buttons, but you do get a nice bit of feedback when you press them. So you will know that you've pressed them via a little vibration on your fingertip. The rest of the cabin is fairly minimalist. So you've got your cup holders, you've got a wireless phone charger down here, and then more kind of space for things, cup holders and what have you. I do quite like the little armrests, kind of reminiscent of a people carrier from the 1990s, but they're very comfortable and very effective, and you can just pop them up like that should you need to. But of course, a car like this is about the back seats as much as the front seat, so let's explore that back bench. The back of the ID.4 is surprisingly spacious and very comfortable. So the seat in front of me is the driver's seat in my driving position. I've got loads of knee room, loads of headroom as well while we're talking about it. But because there is no central transmission tunnel, because EVs don't need a transmission, this has got loads of room for your feet if you're sat either side of the middle seat, or if you are in the middle seat, you've also got loads of room, so you don't have to do that weird thing where you kind of gotta split your legs in between a transmission tunnel. There's ISOFIX points across the entire bench, meaning getting a child seat into the back and secure is super easy. And because of the general height of the ID.4, getting said child in and out of the car is also pretty easy, dependent on the temperament of said child, of course. You've got 2 USB-C charging ports at the back and vanity lights should you need them. So overall, this is a wonderful place to spend some time. 4 family-friendly EVs, from 7 seats all the way to the ultimate driving machine. Each and every single one has something special. And if you're looking to get into an EV, then head to the Big Motoring World website or visit one of our showrooms, because we're big on choice and we're big on what matters to you.